So again, we have Mr. Harlan playing Kiwi Birds. He is very, very good with this deck, known to have taken down many content creators and champs in the EU side. And then you have Humza, who again is one of the best Sapphire Blue players in the game. He did get his world champions, his world qualifier invites at this Disneyland Continentals in January. I was able to see him play live against Sailor. He actually lost against Sailor, but the invites got passed down because of who topped, and Hamza was able to get his invite. So huge congrats to him. That's super awesome that he was able to get his invite off that.
Absolutely.
3-1-2.
Let's see. So they're cutting up the decks right now. Trying to see. I don't think we've determined who's gone first yet. Let's see.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know if they're going off what Pixelborn has.
Yeah. So Pixelborn does give like a slight little green,
Mhm.
I guess, border around of it. But I don't know. Sometimes players don't want to go off of that, or I'm not sure if they're even required to. So, okay. I think I got them all set. They're just a hair. That's gonna bug me how uneven that is, but at least you can see everything. Okay, so it looks like we've got Humza is on the left. He'll be representing the NA. And then we've got Harlan on the right, representing EU. Not 100% sure still who's gotten to go first yet, but we will find that out. Okay, we're getting to see a little of their opening hands. Sorry, I'm doing a little tech stuff in the back, so Riplungs, if you have anything you want to comment on, by all means, go for it, sir.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that what you do want to see, I guess, if Harlan is going first, you do want to see the fire of the cannons in this matchup just to be able to remove Diablo as fast as you can. And we do see Harlan opening up with it, which is I'd be really happy to I'd be really happy if I was Harlan. And then he also has a happy as well. Speaking of happy, he has two cards that can answer any evasive threats. He has the Pete in there, so he has a really nice curve against Hamza. Hmm. And then Hamza opening up with the Cove and Diablo, a morph in there as well. So that little Diablo Cove setup with the morph is something that we might see unless he draws into a mini Diablo. If he is going second.
Yeah, that Diablo Cove is quite the way to ruin our opponent's plans, especially when they have something like the Fire the Cannons. You're thinking, oh, no big deal. I'll get rid of it. And then suddenly, oh, it's 3 health. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you know, I kind of like the Happy for that as well, right? Because if he has to, he can attack with the Happy since it can actually hit evasives.
What's your opinion if your opponent is going first? He opens up, small Diablo, and then you go on your turn. Do you fire the cannons first, or do you wait until the Diablo shifts?
Yeah, I, I guess I don't like that just because they can then just play it for free 2 turns later, and especially in a list like this where your removal is kind of limited. Like, what are the chances you're going to get something back to then deal with the next one? Then again, especially if your deck is going as fast as it probably does, maybe that's enough, right? Maybe just delaying them that essentially 2 to 3 turns is enough for you to get ahead, and now that Diablo card advantage maybe doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And we do see that Hamza does go first, and he does play that Cove. And this is what's going to be very unfortunate because he's going to play that Morph, but he doesn't have enough ink to move it to the Cove. And, well, we know what's next for him.
Well, and he doesn't even have the action, right, to discard for the Diablo, so he can't really even shift it if he wanted to. So he kind of has a weird hand as he has a lot of uninkables, double Prince John, which normally if you could like Prince John, shift Diablo, sing Sudden Chill, that'd be great, but we don't have any of those cards, so.
And this is what's interesting about Kiwis is if you don't have a turn 2 play, which, I mean, he does, right? He does get to play the Fire of the Cannons, but now we get to see that Fire of the Cannons is gone. Now Humza can, play the Diablo the following turn, and unless Harlan has another one, that Diablo is going to get to live.
Yeah. Well, we do draw into our action. Obviously, no shift line available at this point, so I would imagine we're going to Ink Beast. Oh, no, he goes, okay. I thought maybe he'd Ink Beast, put out the John, and then Hypnotize, but actually goes for the Diablo and says, well, you just blew Fire the Cannons. I'm going to assume you don't have another one. Show me. And on Humza's side, or sorry, on Harlan's side, showing he really understands the power that Cove can bring. Instead of questing with the Happy, he put 2 damage on that Cove. He does not want that location sitting around.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about how he had to discard the Hypnotize is, I guess he's just opting out to, because he And the following turn, he could have played the Prince John, but I guess he really wants to get this beast on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And that Diablo did get to live. So just like how he mentioned, I think that play that he went for was pretty much okay. If he had it, he had it, and he was just fine with, I guess, just being behind from there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those plays that just pays off. Oh, the Pete can't activate that sudden chill.
Says, hold on there, sir. Not so fast.
Gotta blow the whistle.
Right? And Diablo
Yeah.
is now a 3/3, so Happy can attack it all he wants, but it won't be enough to finish the guy off. Of course, we could take out the cove underneath it. You could just send Pete into the cove and then Happy into the Diablo, but at least you're using both of your characters on there for the turn.
Yes, and we do see him not attacking to that Happy. I mean, the Diablo would have lived since it is under the cove, but I guess he just didn't want any damage to be on it.
Yeah. And there's the trade. Still pretty good. Your Pete doesn't get the quest. Here comes Alice, though, and Alice is going to... says, oh, you think your ward game is strong with Prince John? I'll show you how to ward. Allow me to not only give it to myself, to my friends.
And even though Humza has a Prince John only, we're already going to, if I'm not mistaken, turn 5? Turn
Yeah.
4, turn 5. So the thing is, Harlan's at 0 lore. So Humza has managed to survive the early game.
Mm-hmm.
And, now even though he just has a Prince John on the board, I think, the lore is just the most important part of this. So I think right now he has at least 2 turns to try to stabilize.
Yeah. He could ink this Hypnotize and put this Beast out, and then, setting up the Beast potential, the card draw. You could also use the Hypnotize, immediately get a draw off of Prince John, but I feel like he wants to probably get to 5 as he actually drew another Uninkable. But no, puts out another Prince John, so he's going to go for the double discard next turn. Oh, not,
Yeah, he has to
not
ink.
double discard,
Wow.
double draw.
He doesn't ink the beast.
Yeah, he's really valuing it, saying, no, I still need this form of card draw. And if this Manor comes down, that could be a little scary. We could also go into double Alice.
Yeah, I think just chaining these Petes for the next couple turns until Harlan draws a Cogsworth potentially is probably going to be the best thing, because those Prince Johns are not going to be able to take out that Atlas.
Dude, if Harlan goes for the 3-peat here, that poor Hypnotize is just going to be sitting in his hand like, well, I could do something if, I was
How much lore is that? How much lore is that if he Petes and those Prince Johns don't attack?
I know. Oh, my goodness.
That would be another 4, 5, I think 10 lore. If he doesn't put a big body on the board. Yeah, so there you go.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Sorry, I'm adjusting a couple tech things on my
end. That beast that we were talking about has finally hit the board, and I mean, it looks like it paid off. He wanted to get it, and I guess I'm not sure if they can see each other's list. I think they can. So him knowing that Harlan only has 4 strength to the Raging Fires, and then 2 copies of Fire of the Cannon to ping that beast is going to draw cards until he decides to challenge with it.
Yeah. There we go. Make it a little bigger.
And there you go, triple Pete.
The 3-peat. Watch me, to quote Michael Jordan from the Epic Rap Battles of History. Watch me get a 3-peat.
He got the 3-peat on the board, and like I mentioned, right now, currently, Harlan has potentially another 6 lore on the following turn.
I saw this happen to a buddy at Locals the other day too, who was just sitting there like, okay, can I play the B prep now? No, one more turn. No, one more turn. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll just sit here and do nothing.
Yeah, right now, the best Humza can do is, play that Morph in Diablo and just hold on to those 2 cards in your hands is probably your best play. The Beast can take out a Pete, I guess. Well, the Beast and the John can take out Alish, which I think is what he has to do here, right?
Oh, that feels so bad though. Like you lose your card draw, you expose your John. But you're right too. He just can't let this Alice sit here, right?
Yeah, because you cut the lore in half. So at least now next turn, potentially, if he doesn't trade into anything back, which I'm pretty sure he'll trade into one of the Prince Johns, you cut the lore from 6 to maybe none lore anymore, and now that's what he needed to slow it down.
The one nice thing too is if this, let's say this beast sticks around, it'll have 7 strength now. So if you do put out something like this Manor, the beast can actually claw his way through that pretty efficiently.
Yeah, and then Humza's going to be able to play the Diablo. I'm pretty sure you'd want to play the Diablo here, right? Yeah, and now this board, what looked like to be in Harlan's favor right now, has shifted completely.
He got the 3-peat, but maybe that wasn't enough. Maybe that was essentially just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, it was the early lore that really mattered. Him having to answer that Cove pretty much fell behind probably like 2-3 lore.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, you don't want to leave the covert there, right? Even though it's not like a lore threat, but maybe that slowed him down a little too much.
And the funny thing is how I mentioned when he played that first Pete was if he can 3P and draw into a Cogsworth, that's going to be like the best thing that can happen for him.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's what has happened now because these Petes can trade back, live on the board, and
Mm-hmm.
basically those strengths of the Raging Fire is pretty much going to be useless.
Yeah, and he can even send both of these Petes into the beast if he wants. They'll both take 2
Hmm.
damage, but like you said, they'll survive, whereas normally they would have gotten themselves banished. Could also just try to quest to 11. I don't think you want to leave a beast with 7 strength on the board, right? Or maybe he does.
Oh,
No, says quest out. Says,
no.
go ahead. I don't care how strong your beast is. Like, what are you gonna do? Take out a single Pete? I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, what I like about that play is pretty much that's what it is, right? That if he wanted to take something out, the only thing he could use is Beast or some removal.
Two.
Ooh, hypnotize.
Oh,
So is he actually gonna give up Robin Hood? We will get a draw for that from the Prince John. We do have enough bodies. Wait, why did we draw 2? Oh, right, the hypnotize itself.
yeah,
That's right. I always
yeah, Hypnotize
I
and
always
Prince
forget
John.
that one with sudden chill. Sudden chill doesn't draw. Hypnotize does draw.
And now Humza has to decide, okay, well, if I'm gonna trade a 2 quest big body into a Pete just to stop 1 lore, because Harlan potentially has another 3 lore he can gain next turn.
Yeah. You a single strength will take out one of these Petes, even with resist, because you do have 4 characters on the field.
Hmm.
So that's a one relatively efficient answer. Looks like he's thinking of inking his own Pete. The storm
Yeah,
doesn't do a whole lot here unless you just want to draw a card. But we also know the beast is hitting for 7 this turn, so he can pretty easily take out a Pete as well. So you can take him down to 2 or 1 Pete and 1 Cogsworth this turn.
I will.
the best thing he can do is remove 2 bodies, which I think is
Strength of a Raging
yeah.
Fire on one of the.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only feet.
Right,
He's
yeah.
like, yeah.
You
I
can't
mean,
hit Cogsworth, so it's got to be one of the 3 Petes.
and then he can attack one with beast, which is not that bad because the beast itself will
He'll stick
get to
around,
live
yeah.
still. Yeah.
Beast will take out another one of the Pete's.
And then probably you can pretty safely quest with Diablo.
And
Yeah, you can
I
100%,
doubt you
yeah.
want to expose Prince John. Maybe you tell your opponent, well,
I
I don't
mean,
really care.
he can even, yeah, do that and then crash the morph into it.
Oh, that's true. Well, no, because he still has resist, right? So the
It'll
morph would
be
only do 1
one
damage.
oh, you're right. You're right. Yes, you're right.
And passes there.
Yeah, questing with the John there to give up drawing an additional card off Bruno next turn, I think is fine not questing with John there, just because you only have
Yeah.
1 lore compared to Harlan's 11. So even if you start, controlling the board a little bit, Harlan plays so many characters that have ward,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really want to, stall yourself out too much, and he has to quest himself. So ideally, Humzo has to start putting more bodies on the board, going sideways, while slowly removing whatever he can of Harlan's board.
Yeah. Humza nearly forgot to draw a card off the Diablo there, but he did catch it eventually. So
Mhm.
with the Alice, the Cogsworth already has ward. We know that Humza has a Bruno in hand, so most likely this Calhoun is not going to get to see the light of day. But you could also just, I don't think you want to quest with Cogsworth. That's too dangerous. So probably you just take out the beast. Yeah. Trade the beast. Get rid of the ability to at least potentially sing a Bruno. And now we do quest with
Oh.
Cogsworth, which, okay, on board we'd have to run this entire board into the Cogsworth, which would trade. That's not efficient for you.
Well, I was gonna say I hope he doesn't quest with the Cogsworth because the only way he can get punished is with the morph being able to shift into
Oh,
something.
and he just shifted and he just pulled out something quite good.
The Pete has what, 3 attack or 4 attack?
I think he's a 5/5, isn't he?
Oh, he's a 5/5. Yeah, so being able just to trade 1 for 1 is gonna
Yeah.
be very bad.
Oops. If he'd have shifted into the beast, it would have at least taken 2 characters still to take out the Cogsworth. But that timely Pete off the top just says, "Oh, Mister, your clock has wound for the last time, sir. Let's just go ahead and bop you off this field."
Yeah, oh man, yeah. Like I guess you had to go for it, but I mean, it's just very unfortunate because now
Cards in hand.
at least he can't
Got it.
play the Bruno this turn.
Done.
But even like
Of course
questing
done,
next
yeah.
turn, Harlan will get to 17, and I mean I think that's gonna put him in a good spot because he does play Gantu, which we mentioned earlier, which can burst and be one of those checkmate cards that if you put on the board, if you don't have an answer to it, you usually win the game because of
Yeah.
how much lore you're gaining off him.
Especially if we have an Alice Ward backing it up. Calhoun not going to be doing a whole lot right now, as unless we exert this Prince John, she can't run into this Pete, and she can't hit the Diablo, so...
Drawing a Cogsworth here would be really good.
Well, how's a Smee sound
Smee.
instead?
I mean, Smee is Smee.
So if you
Smee
quest
is-
out, you'd go to 17, so Smee wouldn't quite be able to do it on their own. So you probably still just have to stand pat for now, right? Like, I feel like you want to just try to get that one big quest in one turn. Or do you think you
Yeah.
still need to put on your pressure and just keep hoping your opponent has or making your opponent has the answers? And it looks like that's what Harlan's going to do, is saying, nope, I'm waiting for no man. I'm questing the 17, as Alice will give one extra lore to Calhoun. Go ahead, Riplungs.
So he decides to give the ward to the Calhoun, obviously because I mean you do want that burst lore, but what's going to be interesting
Cards
is
in hand.
here is he can only Bruno one of the. Oh, never mind. He drew the the strength
Oh.
of the raging fire. So I was gonna say one of the characters were gonna live this turn, but the fact that he drew the strength, I think. Oh wait, well actually no, because
If he's
the Calhoun has ward.
Yeah, and the Pete can take out
Can take
either
out one.
character, but the John and the Diablo, they can't take out the Calhoun because of the resist. They don't have
So you
enough
take
to take out
out-
the Alice, so he actually can only challenge effectively one character this turn.
All right,
Okay.
Pete will take out.
And then
Oh,
he
so
can't,
he can only take
can't
out the
take out the
Alice.
Smee, so someone's going to stick around. Calhoun will stick around.
Yeah. So even if he didn't draw the strength, he still had the Bruno to remove that Smee to stop Harlan from winning the game next turn. Worst case scenario, right? He could have ran the well, not even the Prince John, just the Diablo into the
Tap
Calhoun.
5 and hit. We don't talk about Bruno on your Smee.
We do not
Yep.
talk about Mr. Smee, as he's going to go to the hand and then right to the discard. And for those who are
Draws a
unfamiliar
card.
with how he works at home, and we do draw a card off of that off the Prince John, the Pete Space Pirate has an effect that while he's exerted, all your pirates gain resist +1. And since he exerts to challenge, that's why he only has 1 damage on him, because he essentially took nothing from the Alice.
Really good card.
Oh, man.
And
More
a Pete here.
Not enough Pete's this game. You know, if there's one thing we've been missing in this game, Mr. Riplungs, it's not enough Pete's, I dare say.
So even though Harlan is gonna draw 1 card, he has, if I'm not mistaken, 5 characters in his deck that have ward. That quest for 2. So I think if I was Harlan here, you just always quest, put yourself at 18.
Yeah.
And you just have to hope that you draw into a dock, draw into a Wendy. He does play 2 copies of Wendy, which is a 3-drop character that has 2 lore with ward.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of outs. Well, not a lot of outs, but he does have a lot of cards compared to only having a few that he can draw into.
Yeah. And the lore total is, there's such a discrepancy that he should at least have,
Even
what,
for a
2
war
turns, you
character
think?
that's also
Maybe even
quest for
3?
two.
I honestly think he has 1 more
I
turn.
forgot my Diablo trigger. That's okay. I'll leave that one because I forgot it myself.
Do you think? Because even if he
Okay.
quests out, he'd go to, what,
okay.
+6, so he'd go to 9.
alright.
And then if he quested again for
No cards in
6,
hand?
No cards in
even
hand,
if he
yeah.
put the
Oh, if he
beast
can-
down.
It's 8, right? Oh yeah, you're right. So wait, no, yeah, you're right.
So
you're
he
right,
should
you're
have
right,
at least 2 more
We
turns. So if he
will-
can top deck Alice, I think he is going to need
We
something
don't
with
talk
ward,
about
though, or
Bruno,
Cogsworth,
your
because
bodyguard?
Humza is just seeing all the removal. So I don't think any of these bodies are going to
Draw.
stick around.
Prince John?
Yeah, because now he's just going to
I
kill the
will-
Calhoun with the. Well, this is the interesting part. Do you save the strength? You have to, right? I think you just trade the Pete into the Calhoun and save the strength for a potential Gantu.
You could. I mean, well, yeah, because that's your only spot
He
removal
will
you left.
take out the-
Yeah, because if you don't win in 1 turn, like you said, 2 turns, then I guess the 1 lore
Calhoun.
isn't going to make a difference. So I guess you just always. Oh, never mind. Wait, yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
just
sent the
trade
big
into
Pete
it.
in because he'll stick around, whereas the small Pete would have traded.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, I guess that 1 lore is the same 1 lore difference.
Humza's crawling back into this, but
This
Harlan
is it.
needs the top deck of his life right
This
now.
is it. Sapphire Steel. Give him the power he needs.
Draw for Diablo.
Oh.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't have ward, but it has 6 health.
Everything. It's Baymax.
And we only have four
Uh,
bodies on board for
I
that
have dropped
strength.
on the list.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, but we can drop both the Ursula
Yeah.
and the Beast. Ooh, we
Well-
have just enough. Almost. So close yet so far.
Turn.
Or we could even do
Your
double
cards in hand,
Ursula.
No cards in hand though.
I'll tap 5.
Yeah, because I think that's all he. Yeah, I think it was only one turn because I mean, he plays something next turn.
I
I
think,
think Humza just quests the following turn, right?
does he? So let's see. So he'll have to sing with one of these characters. Presumably it'll be Pete or Diablo. He'll then quest out from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will put him to 12. And then, yeah, he'll have enough after that. So,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
needs
he
to
only
draw
had the one
ward
turn.
character. That's strength.
oh, so close. Like almost with the Baymax.
So
but-
close. No docs though.
Yeah.
No docs.
12.
And that is the one thing I've seen about some of these blue steel decks is that they really don't have a lot of card draw. So like if you don't see that dock as we're seeing in this game, you're just stuck in top deck mode.
Oof.
Perhaps very appropriately, Pete comes off the top.
9.
It's okay though because it's game one. You know, being on the play.
Another-
Yeah.
And
another award g-
What I did like
Alice.
about this game, this was a really good game.
Yeah, that
Was
was a good
Humza
time.
did not open up Diablo right away.
Yeah.
He opened up with the Cove. Harlan opened up with his one drop, and this is what you really call like a very fair game. I think just unfortunately, the Prince Jean advantage was just too strong.
Yeah.
He just kept drawing cards when he was when Harlan was trying to just keep fighting back. I think a doctor at the end would have just sealed the deal. So a little unfortunate for Harlan there, but
Yeah.
overall, very very close game.
When it looked like he had an Alice coming up shortly
Pretty
too.
high, honestly.
Looking back on it, is there
Yeah,
anything?
yeah.
Which, by the way, I was
Thought
just
the odds would
observing
be
these
pretty
players'
high.
play mats. I love that Humza has that Calvin and Hobbes like in a
When you got rid of
cardboard
my,
box off the waves, and then
Warlock
this
Prince
Robin Hood
Zone,
mat's gorgeous
oh,
too.
this
So
is about to be
great
good.
artwork on both players' mats.
Yeah,
What
we're
I was
trying to
saying
fire the
was
cannons,
we kind of
and,
talked about
I
him
didn't close
delaying a
with
little
the
to go
stage.
after the Cove. In
just have
retrospect,
to-
do you think maybe he
like, if
should
I
have
was
just
questing
ignored the
earlier,
Cove, or do you think he
Yeah.
still needed to get that off the
there
field
was
to win?
like 2 law difference, but all the
Yeah.
trades
I
you do
think
get
he
so much
had
better
to
than
get it
draw
off
on
the
air
field
if you
just
have
because if you don't answer it,
Pete in a code,
it's
it's
just
a
always
big
going to
deal.
stay there in the game. And I forgot who mentioned it, but I think Zan might have said that Cove is one of the strongest turn one plays in Green Steel because of how many variables that card just introduces when you have it on the board.
Yeah.
Even with cogs out, I think that is what that one extra attack makes a
Yeah, we
huge
did one
difference.
last
Yeah.
weekend, and we got
What do you
to
think
the
about
reality
the
of
play of
the
Harlan
stuff.
questing with the Cogsworth? Do you think that had a huge effect on
Yeah,
the turn of
good
event,
fun.
on
We
how
Well,
the
did
game
it
turned?
did. Like the
a while
Pete,
ago.
the Space Pirate Pete was such a
really
good top
awesome
deck
thing, yeah,
for
hopefully
Humza
they
because
get
he
to
didn't
that.
have that at the time, right? And if
He had the
did-
beast to
he
yeah.
had the beast, but the
Mhm.
beast would do 3 damage because it wasn't powered up, and you
Yeah,
would
and
have had
Diablo would have
run
to crash.
Beast and Diablo. So you're
Mhm.
not only spending 2 characters, which means you're not questioning or singing. You're
You're
getting that Diablo off the board, which also means that Humza isn't drawing as many cards, so maybe he doesn't draw into so
Mhm.
much removal. So I understood why Harlan did it because at least based on the board state, he was
Yeah,
like,
that
"You're
would
gonna
go.
have to kind of overcommit to this Cogsworth."
Mhm.
But that Space Pirate
2-1.
Pete, kind of like in his artwork where he's bursting
you
through
want
the
3?
door,
You
he's
want
just like,
3?
"Oh, I'm here now, boy."
Yeah, because if he didn't quest with the Cogsworth and like having that Alice, the only cards that your opponent can really interact with would be something like Bruno. You know that one card that is not warded by Harlan's board, but that Cogsworth just being able to give resist to your characters against steel decks is just very important, and it's just crazy, right? If he didn't quest with it, we probably would have
Yeah,
maybe
get
would have had a
still tempted
different
to quest with it.
outcome.
Yeah.
Again, he didn't draw into a dock, and his
It's winning
next
me so
draw
much
wasn't a
when you
dock,
play,
so.
like,
His
each
draws
other
were
and
very
something.
just one
Like,
questers,
no,
but
we
yeah,
should
what a
not
good
roll
game.
this.
And so far in this opening hand, I do not like it at all. If I were
No,
Harlan.
look at all those uninkables. Yuck.
Yeah.
Let's put some of those back. Do you like this
Oh, he's
Wendy
keeping-
Darling?
hmm.
Like, I appreciate that it has ward and support, but I don't know. Something with 1 health is always just kind of for me.
I think that card is more for endgame, closing out the game. So it's one of those necessary evils where you have to run it just for those scenarios, right?
Mm.
Like how last game it would have been the card for Harlan to have drawn to win the game.
Yeah.
It was
Uh,
like
I
blur
personally
and then
also that card
Saturday was like
specifically when
green
I was
and
using this
which is
deck last
speed
weekend,
and
I also
electric
wasn't
cannons,
running Wendy
and
because I
then
couldn't find my copies.
my local
I
team
actually
plays
played Scrooge
and it's
McDuck,
fast.
Oh,
It
the
nice.
was like
four
nothing before,
uninkable.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
375.
That card was pretty good, but the
Yeah, and which
uninkable
launched
was
in
felt pretty bad.
Sure.
So I know Harlan took
Oh
out
yeah,
the
I don't play it
Scrooge
in League because
McDucks
I'm
to
actually
play
want to play
Wendy.
Lurus.
Gotcha. I do like that Scrooge. You're like you're right. The uninkable is a little
132.
but it's such a big body. Like if you can get it out
I think
early,
so.
what are they
Mhm.
gonna do with a 5/5?
Yeah, exactly. And against
Everybody,
the Amethyst
go
decks,
for it.
it came up pretty good as well.
I kind of like Harlan's hand if he was going second, but he's going first this game, so he kind of he actually doesn't even put the happy out. Just says, nah, I'm not gonna worry about
That's
it.
a Doc.
And I will
Oh, sorry, that
Yeah,
is Doc. Well, that's
yeah.
why he didn't put it
Yeah.
out because he can't.
And there you go. You see Humza with the Diablo. We know that he doesn't have a big Diablo,
Yeah.
but Harlan does not know that.
Almost perfect curve. Okay. All right.
So we heard Humza say almost perfect curve, and I do agree with that. Why? Because you have the Calhoun.
Yeah.
You can either go Alice or Pete. Pretty sure you go Alice here, and then you can drop a Pluto, and then close it off with a Cogsworth,
Yeah.
and that's going to give you such a good board state where Humza won't be able to interact with.
He's a little hesitant to give the Pete up, and I don't blame him because obviously you don't want a bunch of actions to come out, but we also have quite a few uninkables in hand. Ink's one of the
Mhm.
Cogsworths. Always a
Yeah,
little bit of a shame to see that card go because you always just want to see that board where it's like triple resist on the entire field.
Mhm. He could
Oh,
also
and he
be
got the
giving a
Diablo.
wow,
Biggest
and
shiny
he got
enchanted
the
Diablo. Just
Diablo.
right off the deck.
That top deck is going well. I mean, the good thing is he only has one action card, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he can, and he does. Well, he can go, yeah, shift Diablo and play a
He can
Morph.
play Morph.
More.
You think he's gonna shift this turn?
I don't know. He could be patient.
I mean, he
Granted,
could just hard play it next turn.
we know that Harlan also has no way to do anything about this Diablo unless he like
Mhm.
top decks
I
cannons.
got 5.
And he scouted his hand, so he knows that, right? He knows there's no cannons in his hands.
Yeah, because if you give up the sudden chill, let's just say for the next 3 turns, Hamza doesn't draw an action card. The Ursula and Prince John effectively won't be doing
Yeah.
anything turn 4 and 5.
Yeah, those are just dead cards in your hand. So maybe the right choice here is to just wait and be patient.
That's what separates, what you would call a safe play and a greedy play.
Right.
But it looks like he's just saying, I need to, if I can speed up the process and drawing more cards with Diablo, hopefully he draws into an action, it would pay off. But if he doesn't, those cards aren't going to do anything.
Yeah. Well, and we know there's no cannons, and there's still no cannons there. So
Okay.
this Diablo is gonna just get to sit around for a while.
So there's Muses, not an action card. And here, if I was Harlan, you'd only really be afraid of going like if Hamza does like a body and then into a strength. Maybe that's where you'd want to play a Pete. But I think Alice giving ward to your characters. If you can give ward to the Calhoun, and if it can live, I think that's going to be a huge benefit.
Yeah, a little risky questing with it here. We know that we have the Beast in hand, so we could shift this Beast onto Morph and then punish the Calhoun. I don't know if he wants to do that play because it obviously cuts off the Beast Zone card draw, but
He did draw the Hypnotize,
yeah, we
but
could
he
also
doesn't have any characters that can draw off the discard.
Yeah, so what he could do here, ink the Muses, put out the Prince John, set up the Hypnotize for the next turn. You still have nothing threatening this Diablo. Yeah, Alice is going to get on board, but you're going to be drawing cards. Looks like he's also considering inking the Hypnotize. Do you just ink the Ursula here, knowing you don't have any songs currently, or are you just still holding that hope and you draw into one?
I think the Muses is a good choice because Harlan plays a lot of characters that cost 3. So I don't think the Muses there will do much.
Does shift the Beast, but values the card draw much over
Hmm.
getting the Calhoun down. As we draw another 1-drop Robin Hood, Harlan is wishing he'd had those earlier when he had the big 5-drop in hand still.
He drew another Muses, and the good thing about this is, again, he has no discard engine going right now, and that allows Harlan to keep these potential Cogsworth. Oh, like once he gets that Cogsworth on the board, it's going to be way harder to remove things, and at that point, Harlan doesn't have to care about his hand.
Yeah. We only got 3 lore off of that quest, so I'm assuming we took the play you described before the game started, where he most likely warded the Pluto. So now it says, hey, if you want to attack us, you have to go to the Pluto, but you can't hit it with anything beforehand.
Yeah, so what can you remove here this turn? Just the Calhoun with like a Bruno? Is that even a good play?
No, because he's only on 4 ink, so he can't even do that.
Well, he can sing it with bees, right?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
All
Yeah.
three for
But I feel like,
John.
okay, now he's finally like, okay, I need to get
I
more. I guess he wants
will
more cards in his
say
hand to try to deal with his
up
board.
on your Calhoun.
Yeah.
If we can hit this Cogsworth out on the hand, too. Oh, hold on. That goes to the hand, doesn't it?
How many cards in hand?
Oh wait, yeah, that's not how that works. I've been playing it so much.
Harlan's like, oh, right, I'm used to having
We
no
have-
hand, so it essentially goes straight to the discard pile. Yeah.
Or,
Technically, it goes
on
to our
the
hand
field
first.
things, do
We
one-
shuffle
He has
up,
the
we
trauma.
randomly yeah, right. He's got that Bruno trauma.
Okay, so that's fine.
Alright,
He
so the
still has to
first
answer the
four
Pluto
is
and
the first
Alice.
four.
Hopefully he
Last
doesn't.
anything
I would
reroll.
hope he doesn't hit the Cogsworth because
Last
that's
one.
going to be Harlan's best
This one.
chance to stay in the
It's
game.
the Calhoun.
It is
Ooh,
Calhoun.
it's the
Dude, how
Calhoun.
often
Oh,
does
dang it.
Bruno
It's a
get rid
Calhoun.
of the very
Yeah.
card? It's crazy how much I see
I'll
that.
draw Prince John.
And he will draw for Prince John. Now, the nice
Mhm.
thing for Harlan is the Pluto can actually take out this beast, because it hits for 5 right now.
He decided to
And
quest
You've already your ink is how much?
with the Diablo because he sang with the
Yeah, so I will-
Beast. Yeah, he needs to ink for turn. Okay, yeah, he's the Ursula.
Well, in the Diablo, I mean, there's no evasive counter, so he can pretty freely quest with that one.
Draw Diablo.
Wow, I really do like that John Silver because that John Silver is going to shut down the beast from attacking into that Pluto. So this is the interesting. So like you can go Cogsworth, and Cogsworth will. I mean, yeah, you just go Cogsworth here.
Yeah,
and
don't
just
you-
quest with the
Would-
yeah.
Would you quest with the Pluto, or would you just run it into the beast right now and get it off the field? Because the Pluto's a 5/5 currently.
You've got the Wombo combo going on.
Interesting. Yeah, I think you play the Cogsworth, crash the Pluto into the beast. Pluto only takes 2, and he's gonna have ward, so nothing on the board will be able to take out the Pluto.
Yeah.
Guess we take out the beast. Oh, I'm being at. Right now.
So Alice quest for
Yeah,
2,
so-
gives ward and also 1 lore to the Pluto if it did want to quest. But I kind of, granted, you would have a board full of warded characters, so you would still have to challenge. But I don't know if you want him to draw another card. Is the only thing.
No, I think you definitely take out the beast here because the resist gives to the Pluto. Nothing on the board can take out the Pluto
Yeah.
right now, and
And you
if
can't
it has
target
the
anything.
ward, exactly, yeah.
It's a warded board.
Oh, yep. Even the oh, that's gonna be a
Lucifer
good
would
card.
be backbreaking here. It would completely cut off the dock play. Oh man.
Yeah, because what would you want to play other than that? A Morph and a Ursula? I mean,
I guess you could just hypnotize, but why do that when you can risk it? Oh, this cat.
yeah. And how many cards? He's gonna be able to draw 2 cards off that, right?
Yeah. Oh, this sneaky cat. That might have sealed the game.
I'll
I mean,
draw-
don't get me wrong, you got a lot of worded characters to get through still, but Harlan was definitely relying on that dock to reload his hand next turn.
So he does draw into more characters. Nothing that can
I'm in not too great.
like the thing with Emerald Steel is everything quests for 1, right?
Yeah.
Other than like Prince Sean and like Beast and stuff like that. So even once you do get control of the board compared to other control decks, Emerald Steel has a very slow way to get to 20 fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can do. Pass.
Because Harlan has no hand, but if you can't attack his characters,
Oh, Gantu, baby.
My play's pretty written. Let me
yeah,
just-
so you always just quest here.
Yep.
quest for
So that'll be
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna go all the way up to 12.
Interesting. I don't know if you quest with the Cogsworth there.
Well,
but I guess you-
maybe he's feeling the hand pressure difference
Oh
and
my
just saying, hey, you know what? At this
Yeah.
point,
You've gone on to the
do you think he should have waited to ward the
I would
Gantu, or do you like still warding the Pluto?
board.
So I'm thinking here, everything can crash into the Cogsworth, but everything would die, and then you could Bruno the Gantu, but then you still leave 4 lore on board, which would go to 16.
All right. We'll sing with Lucifer.
Yeah, so he pretty much has to Bruno
we
the
don't talk
Gantu. He
about
can't
Bruno.
just let that
Yeah.
cat sit there. But yeah, he still can't really attack. That
You have any
Pluto
cards
with
in
the
hand? No, right?
Cogsworth
No.
resist is just saying, what are you
Mhm.
gonna do about it? Like,
Prince John.
and the Ana, we can't even use the Ana trigger, right? Because he's warded every turn.
Well, Diana can give a +2 attack to his character, right?
Oh,
Or
that's
is it
true. Yeah.
minus?
Is
Is
it
it?
+2 or I don't. I think it's +2. I think you're correct.
Yeah, it might be +2. I don't know if it's one character or all your
Yeah, it's been a
characters.
minute since I've read that, and I'm so used to just seeing either the discard or the break effect. Where you just banish them.
Because if you're able to give +2 to something, or yeah, that still doesn't answer anything effectively. You could get rid of the Pluto with the Diablo if you want to boost its attack to 4, kill the Pluto, and now Harlan only has 5 lore for the next turn, which would be 17. But if he does that, that does cost 5 ink.
Yeah, and you'd still have a bunch of stuff that attacks for 2 or 1 on board.
Mhm.
You know what? Maybe you just establish the bodies. Maybe you put out like Pete and Ursula, or even Pete and Muses, just to get as many bodies and attack power as you can on the board.
But I will tap.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
about to
'cause-
hypnotize and then realize, wait a minute, there's nothing to discard. I've already done that.
You have to. I think you have to answer something interesting. Yeah, I think he's just. Yeah, because I was gonna say the only thing you can do is like
Cricket I got.
Is he
Anna?
scooping? Really? It wasn't over
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, I can't remember what was in there.
I mean, if he did like, so he had to answer something, right?
Yeah.
So whatever he
Yeah, just do
answers,
that.
if he goes the
I was
Anna
thinking,
route,
like, Pete's
he
got
wastes his
one at
5
the
ink
start
doing
of
that
the-
and gets to play a
doesn't
2-drop
matter.
character, crashes the Diablo and something else into the Cogsworth,
I was trying to
and
play the
then
card
Harlan
game
gets the
thing. I
quest the
had him
following
there
turn
for
for another
sure.
4 lore, goes to
Oh,
16.
yeah, like, once
And then
every
Harlan
turn,
would only have
I've
one
got
card,
something
and like
that's,
if Harlan drew like a fire of the
I don't
cannons
really
there, I
mind
mean, I
how many
think you're
cards I
right.
play.
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
don't get me
so
wrong.
it's
It was
good
looking
tech
very
quests,
much in Harlan's favor just
I
by
think
the lore total,
sometimes
but
as well,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think he needed
I
to
mean, I wanted
concede
the
quite that
one-drop,
early. I
but
think he
I
still
guess it
had
would
at
save
least
the card
another
in my hand
chance.
if you
yeah,
wanted
I
to
think
take
him
this.
drawing the next card
Yeah.
was
I did. That's all
all
I had
dependent on
available.
it. But I think it's fine. He's just like, you know what, I'm not gonna exhaust my brain over it.
Sure.
Just gonna
I
go
had
to the
a
next
Pete
game.
or a John
Well, and
Silver,
sometimes,
and I
right, as a
thought,
player, when you
I don't know
know
what I'd
you've
be
got that
picking,
first
just
game
'cause
in
I'm
the
gonna have
pocket
these
that
cards in
you
hand,
can, for lack of a
and,
better term, afford to lose a
everything has
game that
forward,
you
so you can't
that
touch
yeah,
it.
sometimes you
So
go,
I
you know
thought,
what?
Yep.
Let's reserve the
That's why
energy. Let's reserve the mental energy. I'll get to go first anyway. Let's just go to the next one.
Yeah, because he could have drawn that Cricky the following turn as well.
Yeah, well,
And
that's it.
so yeah,
Personally, I would
interesting.
never do that. I always kind of play it out until I
I will do
know
300.
100%. Okay, yes, it's actually over now, but because I mean that's kind of that happened in the last game, right? Like Harlan also got to essentially lethal lore, but he was able to stabilize and just keep him off of it.
Hmm.
Oh man, Harlan must love drawing these uninkables. Look at this starting hand: double Alice,
what I had.
a bunch of oh my
Oh.
triple Cogsworth,
So if I was Harlan, I think
full
I
7.
think you keep. I mean, yeah, I think a full 7. This is no. I think you can keep one Atlas. I guess
Well, I mean,
Wow.
just to because well
I'm gonna do
I
this
like
for
keeping
7.
the. Okay. I was gonna say I like keeping the one Alice because he heard Humza say like more full 7.
Yeah.
So he's like, but he was just like, nah, like I'm just gonna go for a consistent
But look at that reward. We've got Robin Hood
So I
into
said,
Calhoun.
into a beautiful curve.
And we see the shifted
A
Diablo.
happy.
the
We see a happy.
Yeah, we have shifted Diablo
Oh,
and shifted
nice.
Pete on Humza's side, but no one-drop Diablo.
He has the cove though, so we're
Uh-oh.
while it reconnects, he did. Looks like the game started actually. I don't know if you're already in the.
Oh, did it? Oops.
No,
I
you're
thought
good.
they
You're
were
good.
still
You're
loading
good.
it.
Yeah, so it looks like Humza did go turn 1 Cove. It's just he had no other play there, and then Harlan's gonna go for that turn 1 Robin Hood, and he's gonna go opt for that shift line. But I actually am enjoying the meta right now. Only thing that I don't like is just Prince John or discard in general, just
Don't
because
see
I
a
think
one-drop. There's like
Prince
10 in
John
there.
gives you a huge advantage while you're taking away your opponent's cards. You yourself are drawing cards. So like
Yeah.
even like you can still come back when you have no cards in hand, but when your opponent is drawing cards still, I think that makes it way harder. But other than that, I've been enjoying Sapphire and Steel still with this Kiwi list, this aggro list. I think is very strong,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll
Bring
see
me, darling.
here if Harlan can close it out on this game 3 on the draw.
Yeah, it's a fun list as we do see the Calhoun come
Calhoun.
down. Folks, sorry about a couple of those tech issues, and I missed just the start of that. Also, if you've been watching, the players have actually switched side on your viewing experience, so now we have Harlan on the left, and Humza is now on the right.
Quest for 1.
And he's gonna opt out to quest instead of focusing that cove. So maybe he learned his lesson, Rudrose, from the first game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, and we know he has the Robin Hood shift line, right? You know this is a deck with no rush, so you know
AK
nothing's gonna like quote unquote punish
music,
you unless they just
and
blow 3
I
on a storm.
will.
So you can shift in, take it out next turn, and the cove is actually in this. It's a weird location. It's what I
I
like
will
about it
Storm Ray
because it has
Dawn
no
on
lore.
board.
There is a very good argument, right, to ignore it, to just say, well, the cove on its own doesn't actually win you the game. It's not like a manor or a queen's castle.
And
So we do see the hard cast Storm Ray John, which while it cuts off the Robin Hood shift line, also just says, well, okay, you're not putting anything on the board myself, so I can keep establishing some tempo. Do you like jamming out the Alice this turn?
I think Alice is the correct play because Humza has no characters on the board.
Get
And what was really unfortunate of him having to, destroy that Robin Hood is because he just falls behind on board presence,
that simple.
and that's the best scenario when you want to play a card like Alice.
Mm-hmm. And we see Harlan, he doesn't have to give up that big Robin Hood yet, so we can just drop that on turn 5 and say, okay, well, he's still here. He might be a couple turns later, but he's still here and ready to go. We finally see one drop Diablo. He's about 4 turns too late, but he has finally shown up for us.
And Harlan can take out the Cove next turn with Calhoun, so
Yeah.
that Diablo would not be protected.
And we did just see Harlan give up his happy though, so we know that. Sorry, Humza here is going to scout first to see if the way is clear to bring in Big Brother Diablo, and sees that
Yeah,
he doesn't have a
exactly.
way to deal with this card. He just got rid of the happy, which was one of his only ways to answer
Yeah.
this evasive character.
Okay. Alrighty.
Because if he had like a removal, then it would be totally like really strong to play the Pete there to protect your Diablo shift for the following turn.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows he doesn't have that, and he opts to still play the Pete.
Okay, if that is not the biggest tell in the world, I don't know what is. You know your opponent has no actions. You drop a Pete. You got to be thinking, all right, he's probably bringing in a big Pete at this point.
Yeah, because he has to answer that Alice on the board, so he values that more than just getting a Diablo out.
Yeah. Now this is a little dangerous because you know if either of these characters exert, that Pete is coming in unless Pete's got to handle Pluto. And Alice says, yeah, we'll go ahead and ward that Pluto too, just to make sure
Take
you
out
can't
the
do
Cove.
anything, and take out the Cove just to make sure you can't shift in and make that a 6/6 Pete. Now the Pete, because of his resist effect, can actually effectively trade with the Pluto, and it will still stick around, although it will be pretty easy pickings for Calhoun to mop up then at this point.
Yeah, because it gets to the Alice and Calhoun get to live another turn, and so even if he does answer the Pluto,
Now
that gaining 4 lore is just really
Yeah.
good.
We did draw into an action, so we actually can shift into Diablo as well this
Heal
turn.
1 to the Pluto.
Or no, okay, we're going to give up the Diablo. We want to make sure it doesn't effectively hurt our Pete.
That takes no damage.
Yeah, interesting there that he takes out the Diablo. I mean that he decides to.
Yeah, he keeps a fully healthy Pete for that. Oh, as we get Pluto part 2. Pluto part
is-
3.
No,
The
not
French
that, like,
version.
that pace.
Yeah, I think here you always
No,
play
it's
the
the one
Pluto,
where
right?
still,
There's no reason
like,
to
Yeah.
not to not.
like,
I mean,
it's,
yeah,
it's
there's no
frustrating.
reason to,
Uh,
because you get to still get another.
can play.
Oh my god.
And we just heard him on the chat. He went, oh my
No,
god.
bad draw.
Pluto's
I wonder who he gave the ward to though this time.
Pluto 2,
Pretty sure-
the revenge.
yeah, Pluto.
Well, and if he gives it to Pluto, like he has a strength in hand, but he can't use it, right? If he did ward the Pluto, which I think he did, because I think he was on
Yeah,
3
he-
lore, right? So he would obviously if he'd given it to Calhoun, Calhoun would go up to. As we get another strength. I feel like, So assuming
Well,
you
you-
can't hit the
yeah.
Pluto, I mean, you just need to establish Diablo, right? At this point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he couldn't get 2 bodies out and then have those strengths kill the Calhoun. I mean, that's something, right?
Yeah.
Play a Diablo.
Well, and
Yeah.
the Calhoun has resist +1 though, so he needs at least one more body to take it out with the strength.
Yeah, and then next turn Harlan's sitting at what, just 4 lore, right?
Yeah. I mean, he could wait. He could wait a turn, get the second Diablo out, then use his strength to take out the Calhoun, which, yeah, looks like that's what he's going to opt to do. He does not want to run Pete into this Pluto because it just opens it up for Calhoun to counterbite. Wow, this is looking really good for Harlan.
We'll take the
And I think you keep doing the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Questing for what is that? 5?
4, 5.
Going to 11.
Yeah.
And you're going to 5 ink if the ink is correct. and I think you just play the Alice, right? You want to get ward characters out.
I mean, I'm also greedy and I like the Robin Hood, but yeah, Alice, there's a very good argument for that. You would still need to ink, so you could ink Wendy and jam out Robin Hood, or he might be taking your line to saying, you know what?
Hood.
Yeah, because the following turn he can go Wendy Doc.
Yeah,
We do 3.
I mean, he can even go Doc Alice
Yeah.
this turn.
he maybe learning his lesson from last time where the dock got discarded from his hand, just saying, you know
Mhm.
what? I don't even want to risk that. I just want to make sure I get the dock off right now. As we get a 1-drop and a manor could absolutely put this game away. Oh man, Humza had such a slow start to this game, and it's really biting
Yeah.
right now.
The having low attack to not be able to answer, like if you were an Amethyst deck, it'd be no issue, right? Because
Yeah.
you could just take it out the following, like a turn 3, turn 4. But just being so low on attacks, that's just the weak point into Emerald Steel when it does go against this Sapphire and Steel deck, and then you add a ward on top of that
Mhm.
with resist. It's gonna be hard for sure.
So we do get the Lucifer, which can just junk our opponent's hand just like last time, which is kind of funny since he played the dock to potentially avoid that. But you'd have to ink a strength, plop down Lucifer. You could then sing the other strength with Diablo to take out, I guess Calhoun's the best target. And then
Yeah.
you could finally run Pete into Pluto. I think you have to do that, right? Like, I don't really see a better.
You know what sucks? What
ahead.
sucks too is he didn't draw an inkable, so like
Yeah. He has,
he has
to,
to
get
give
rid
up
his-
one of the strengths.
So maybe the better option then too is, I mean, we know he's got the manor in hand, which is essentially just going to end the game. But he could put out the second Diablo. You can still sing strength with the first Diablo, which looks like what he's going to do. This will get rid of the Calhoun at least, and then the Pete can challenge the Pluto and still stick around at least for a turn. And the nice thing too is that there's nothing in on the board that can threaten the Pete. If the Calhoun
So
is
you
gone,
can
and the Pluto's
can-
gone, the others are safe. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. Pete can kill the Diablo. I mean, sorry, Pete can kill the Pluto.
Mhm.
And you can sing strength kill Calhoun.
Pluto, and then take it out.
He
Huh.
challenged Pluto?
I don't think he.
Why?
I don't think he realized that.
Oh, yeah, I assumed unless was
I mean, it only has 5 attack, right?
was the Calhoun warded?
8, so we can go to 19.
Did the P have any damage on it prior?
No, he didn't. Yeah, so I assumed he would use the strength to get rid of the Calhoun. I assumed the Pluto was warded.
I think it's fair to say so. Whatever, if it was a mistake, it was a mistake. I mean, Harlan just has too much going on here on his side of the board.
Yeah, I mean, even if he didn't do that,
The
like,
manner is just gonna
the
seal
manner
the
is
deal.
just going to essentially seal the deal. So it ultimately probably didn't really matter, but
And then for 1.
yeah, and I think we heard him too react like, "Oh, manner, yeah, right. Well, there's going to be nothing I can do about this."
Yep.
Discard. And
Yeah, unless there's a miracle be prepared on 6 ink on top here that also banishes a location, by the way. Be even
And that's
more
what
prepared.
happens. That's what happens when Emerald Steel has a slow start. It's very hard to
Yeah.
come back.
good game.
Yeah, as powerful as
And
that
there
deck
you
is,
go.
right? It really wants to see a certain line when it starts the game. So congratulations to Harlan as the Kiwi Birds, as he likes to call it. That is going to get it done.
Yeah, it's like most.
Huge congrats to
reality
Harlan.
Get it, so they can pop it in and run a Maui in.
Yeah, so there, he
The
just
second
pretty
one
much
is like,
breaking
well, I don't have to
down
prep for it, but yeah,
how
the fact that
they
drew
just
that.
came to be. How that match just came to be, excuse me.
Very nice. All right, let's see if we can get him in here for a little player interview.
You know, I feel sometimes
A little round the
you can
horn
get
action.
the card
Let's
advantage
see.
and get the strengths off.
Yeah, let me unmute.
Yeah, if you have double Alice, I can't do anything. You
Yeah,
double Pluto,
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I
Ward
gotta
is
unmute them
probably
too.
one of
Hold
the
on
biggest
second.
pains for steel decks. Just locks out
Yeah.
half the deck.
Yep. I was like, this is why we should have played Red Blue.
Yeah, I think
See,
that was
Humza, they're saying should have just
Wish we
played
could
red
get a
blue.
bit more play time.
Yeah, but I run the CC packages, so it's fine.
I don't know if they can hear us. They probably have us muted, but
Yeah, that would have been very interesting. Yeah, I think so. I think they go for a play interview.
yeah, okay.
Wow, what an awesome match. What an awesome match. It was a nice little hour of peak Lorcana there.
Right? Can you boys hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you gentlemen here?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, major congratulations, of course, to Mr. Harlan Sweet. Way to go, sir.
Thank you very much.
Very much. Sorry, I'm hearing Philman's mic.
Or are we
It might be
doubling?
mine.
Hold on. I might have a doubling thing too. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to get rid of Pixelborn first.
Oh yeah,
Okay, got you.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was an awesome
Got
match,
it.
guys.
That better?
Super awesome match. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, all good. Thank you, man. Yeah, it was good fun. It was really nice to chat as well. Like I've done a couple of these, and both my opponents have been really nice to chat with whilst like the judges are getting things ready.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Thanks for bearing with us for the technical difficulties. So, Harlan, I'm going to start with you with your Nobel Peace Prize. So, one thing I've always praised about this list is just the efficiency of it. I like how, for lack of a better word, straightforward it is that, hey, you want to put out characters that have a lot of lore and a lot of ward. We just see that Alice putting in a ton of work, and it's amazing. One of my, I guess, concerns with it is it does tend to lack card draw, right? Like, really, the dock is your only form of card draw. Is that something you've ever been worried about at the multiple times you've run that list, or is it something that you're like, you know what, it's okay, it works what it needs to?
Yeah, it's very efficient. It's very linear. Like there was plays where I knew he was going to run the Diablo in and then use the Space Pirate Pete to take out the Pluto. But my other option is just play a worse line. So I kind of do that, and I'm like, well, at least Alice gets to quest twice now because Pluto gets get removed, so that's fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I think the lack of card draw sometimes does help you in green still, because if they get an early shift Diablo out, like the issues mainly is like if an Amethyst deck is like drawing a bunch of cards from its one drops, or you play Sail in Sapphire, or you play a Genie in Amethyst. But because we don't do that, they actually have to wait a little bit of time before their Diablo gets a bit of payoff, and it can't trade with anything on our board because they don't want it getting damaged. So I finding the lack of card draw weirdly sometimes helps you in green still. I'm not saying like that's a good way to deck build. Drawing cards is always like the king thing in TCGs, but yeah, like you can see, the games we managed to get the win on, it was very consistent. Like I got Alice, Pluto, and then Cogsworth out, and then at that point we can just play off the top and play whatever we find, and you either win or you lose, and that's just how the deck works. And it's been working for me in like many different events.
Yeah. Yeah, Riplungs had mentioned that play because he said he'd been playing it as well, and I'll let him talk about it here in a second, that the Alice Pluto line, I'd never actually seen it in practice, so watching I was like, wow, that's really strong. They have to challenge it. They can't, use something to ping it off first, so what a play that was.
Yeah, and if you look at what I was inking and having to discard, like I'm not saying the deck is this hugely overcomplicated list, but like I think a lot of people might want to keep the dock that they had or the Pete that they had. But no, as long as you get, I had no cards in hand, but Alice, Pluto, and Cogsworth questing is 6 lore a turn.
Yeah.
And for a deck without like Amethyst, Rush, Crabs, or Foxes, it kind of just locks in the win.
It was absolutely huge. Go ahead, Riplungs.
Yeah, just congrats on your match. That was a super entertaining match. Definitely an hour of some good Lorcana. I just wanted to say that a lot of people think that Sapphire and Steel, with the lack of card draw that it has, that the deck just falls short. But I think against Steel matchups. Can y'all hear me? Hello.
Oh, you are muted in the Discord. They probably can't hear you.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, sorry. I could.
Hello?
Unmute yourself in the Discord.
I'm unmuted. You can't hear me?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, can you not hear him?
Now we're good.
Humza? Okay.
Now we're good. Now we're good.
Basically, I was just gonna say, what I like about this deck in particular is because once you just go through your turns 1 through 5 and empty out your hand and play on the board, you don't necessarily have to draw anymore. Like you didn't play a dock until match 3. That's what I really liked about the deck, just because of how strong Cogsworth is in the Steel meta. Are there any changes to your list that you would make? Because I'm not sure when you submitted this list, but as the meta has shaped, or do you like the list the way it is?
Yeah, I like friend Justin, who created the sort of Kiwi Bird as the nickname of the deck. Like he took down the 10k and SSG, and I like the minor changes. Like I think he even had 3 fire cannons, and then you play the Mulan 1-drop. So if you do like full mulligans, like I was sending 7 in one of them games, and if it's like a fairly bad hand, you have this card that can sort of like draw a card, discard one of the 3 docks that you've got in your hand. I wanted them in, but then like game 1, there were some cards like Wendy Darling. I kind of like keeping around because I think I was just trying to achieve getting to 18 lore, and then it was like I just need to top deck any 2 quester that has ward, and I think it's game at that point. which like again is not a very great strategy to tell people in TCGs, but just get to 18 lore and then top deck the win.
Right.
But it felt like because the discard can get so on top of you, and then they have like Space Pirate Pete and like Bruno, like I knew nothing was going to stick, so that felt like my only line. And also I just like utilizing Sapphire more. Like Ward is very good, especially against all these steel decks, and even into the Amethyst decks. Like a lot of them play what's it called, like the Elsa, the 5-cost Elsa. And when Coil was around, I mean, R.I.P. Hiram, it was just like the way to get around like the Sapphire coils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on, some people like myself trying out the Bell package again? Do you just not like it because of how inconsistent having only 4 popsicles is?
Yeah, so I have lists where I've run it with the Bell. I mean, Bell was like this dream for us. Like when she came out in set 7, like this amazing like we always complained we have no good 1-drops, and we had this like possibility to have one of the best 1-drops. But as you can see for the games, like it's fairly consistent. The deck is like we are literally just mulligan for a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we should just be able to win from that. If we're also hunting for a high roll turn 1, I just feel it makes the deck a bit more introducing high rolls introduces low rolls. And like in that end, if I was top decking a Porpsicle or even the Bell, I'd be like, this isn't great. I just want it to be pretty consistent in what it does. And as I said, I was practicing a Bell list, but then we did the 2-game format in Germany, and I was like, no, because like I get Bell out turn 1 like 30% of the time. Like, and when it happens, it's great,
Yeah.
But then when it doesn't, it's not amazing. And like I was also using cards like the Storm Rage on, which is again one of those cards where if you can sing it early, that's amazing. But drawing that later on in the game can just be kind of the reason why you lose sometimes.
Yeah. Makes plenty of sense. Well, sorry, we don't want to leave Humza out, of course, so let me flip it over to you, sir. Well-fought match, well fought. I want to ask you, in Game 2, at least from our point of view in the booth, it seems like you probably could have actually played that out one more turn, especially since Harlan was in top deck mode. What made you just say, nah, you know what, let's just go on to the next game? Give me your thoughts on that game.
I think that for me, if I remember Game 2 correctly, it's just I was put at such a disadvantage that I was like, even if I have all the cards, because I can't get rid of his entire board soon and enough, I was like, it's not worth it. Because I didn't get any of the, like, I didn't get either my Cricky or anything else that would help to support or, I guess, pump up my creatures.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's fine. I'll take that L. And I was like, let's just move on.
Fair enough. Well, and we mentioned, obviously this deck has kind of always struggled challenging into locations or characters because most of its characters tend to have low strength. But one of the big beaters, and he kind of felt like the MVP for you in these matches, was that new Pete Space Pirate. Like, whoo, he put in some work. Tell me about that card.
Yeah, I think that in a green steel deck, especially in this current meta, you have to play him. I didn't even really realize the resist ability is that helpful, but I guess in this matchup with the Plutos, it was very helpful.
Yeah, let's trade the Pluto and live.
Exactly. And then I don't know if you saw my mulligan Game 3. I saw both Big Pete, Little Pete. I was like, I'm just keeping this.
Yeah.
Move on. Okay. What I was really looking for was a morph for anything that didn't have 1 power that I could play early on. And so, because my curve was off at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know Riplungs had kind of mentioned this. You're currently running 3 of the Little Pete, 2 of the Big Pete. Do you think Pete is a card that would ever be worth going up to more copies of, 3 or maybe even a full 4, or do you like having him at 2?
I think with the high influx of Amber Steel and like Steel Song and decks that are just like playing songs as a whole, I think I would go up to at least a 3 of. This was one of those decks where I was trying to Pete out. I didn't love it, but I was like, it's fine. A 2 of seems like I like it enough to play it, but not enough to commit to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, I think a 4-3 split, dropping some of the morphs, maybe the next type of iteration.
Nice, very nice. Riplunks?
Yeah. So I see a card. Well, when me and Rudrose were looking at the list, the first card that stood out to us was Anna. I know it's a card that a lot of Emerald Steel players aren't using. Did you have what I do like about the card? It kind of fills in the role of the helps the discard package out and also helps in the challenging and the challenger aspect of it. Was that the card that made it down to your 61th slot? Because I did notice you were playing 61 cards.
It was, and it was just like the flexibility of that was more than anything else. In game 3, I had it, but he'd given the Pluto Ward at that point in time, and I was like, never mind. Can't use this to kill this.
Yeah, I think that card's really nice. And also, you are known, to be one of the best Ruby Sapphire players in the game. What made you want to try Emerald Steel out? Do you think it's had any similarities to Sapphire, Ruby Sapphire when it comes to like controlling the board in a way?
Sure, sure. Well, as we all know, Ruby Sapphire is not great anymore. Rip Hiram. And I think the Green Steel was I'd played it before, and I felt very comfortable playing the deck. And so, in terms of necessarily being a similar playstyle, I think it's very different. Truly, like it's control, but it's a very like it's not a consistent control deck, right? It's a control when you absolutely have to, but not when you need to. Versus like Ruby Sapphire is a consistent control deck where almost everything is controlling the board one way or the other.
Gotcha.
And so this was more of a comfort pick. It was more of a deck that I thought would be good into the meta as a whole. And of course, Harlan picked the one deck that is an awful matchup. So I was like, honestly, that's fine. I'm here for it.
Well, you played it very good. That was an awesome match.
Yeah, and you know what wasn't an awful matchup, and that was both of your playmat game was on point. I loved your Calvin and Hobbes in their little cardboard box riding the wave. That was awesome. And then of course the Robin Hood mat too. It looked fantastic. So excellent playmat choices, gentlemen.
Awesome.
Of course.
I'd say with the green steel matchup, like I think all the steel matchups, I feel fairly more favorable with this deck because you lock out half of the removal once you get Alice set up. But the Space Pirate Pete, like I think most like Amber Steel mainly is teching for it, but like even myself, I'm like trying out the Jafar, the 3 cost that gives Challenger. Like a lot of that game, I was debating if I play Wendy Darling so I can quest and buff up the Calhoun to take it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that thing is such a menace. And then I'm like, I think this person is playing at such a level where he will never give me that shot anyway.
Yeah.
So it would have to, but that card is so powerful, and it's generally making a lot of people dedicate slots in their deck to answering it.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I played against it with Steel Song, and especially because they do the small Pete on turn 3, so you can't sing anything, and then they shift him, and they still can't sing anything, and it was like, oh, this is not enjoyable. What do I do about this?
It's almost a like it's going to happen, and sometimes like I was playing around it or was trying to, and I knew it was coming. It's such a powerful shift line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very good. Well, I guess real quick question I'll have to end on is that, and either of you can answer this in either way, is there any card in your deck that you're maybe not feeling? Harlan, we never really saw that Wendy Darling come out. I know you inked that one a lot. Like, is there any card that you guys are like, this isn't really performing the way I want it to? And I guess let's start with Harlan.
Yeah, I mean the Wendy Darling is fairly alright. If like at the end of the game 1 where I was just trying to top deck a 2-drop that quests for 2, that has ward, sorry. So it's like you have the Alice and the Cogsworth, but just adding a couple Wendy Darlings just ups that. And then you have these games sometimes where someone will give you like Quest of Wendy Darling, give support to Calhoun and take out a Robin Hood. Of course, most players will play around that, but like if you put it on the board, they might have to think about it. The card I really am trying to drop is Baymax.
Yeah.
The list I'm running right now is what I've dropped him. Like I think he's just become a bit of an icon for like everyone who plays the deck. Like he's this like as much as Alice is iconic as like, oh yeah, but Baymax is in there.
Yeah.
But he never does anything great, I don't think. And yeah, I know. And but I've had so many games where he has healed and got me some lore. But if I actually even today, like when I drew him, I was like, I just wanted this to be almost anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I think Baymax is going, and Justin was running Chiempo. I don't know if Chiempo would have helped here because we don't talk about Bruno just wipes anything that doesn't have ward. But into the Amethyst matchups is very nice to have early on. And Shark does eat it up, but it's fine. You know, if you just give it ward as well, like this matchup again is like it's like an even bigger Pluto.
Poor Baymax. Well, Humza, what about you? Is there any card in your list that you're just it just doesn't feel like it's doing much for you?
The previously noted Ana potentially it's flexible slot. It cannot. It's surprising that Harlan says that we don't talk about Bruno. I would actually think of reducing the amount that I was playing because I was playing 4. And it was just because like a lot of the time it's just straight up ink and it has to have a lot of stuff to work around. Yeah, sure, it's universal removal, but that only really helps when I have like a Prince John on board to get some value out of it.
Sure.
Outside of that, the other flex slot that I had was the Lucifer. I read 2 of Lucifer in this deck, and I was like, sometimes it's completely busted, and sometimes it's absolutely useless as a 2/2.
Yeah.
And I only got 1 play out of it, and yeah, it did draw me 2 cards off of it, so I'll take it, but that's the only one I was like, it's 50-50 right now.
Well, I was gonna say you ripped the dock out of his hand, so like in the moment it felt backbreaking, but as you then found out, it didn't help you with the board, and his board was already so big that I can understand that. Well, gentlemen, those were all the questions I had for you. I'll turn it over to Rip Lungs. Anything you wanted to ask these gents before we let them go?
Yeah, just one last question, a simple question for both of y'all. What do y'all think of the meta right now, and your thoughts on just after the hiring ban?
We'll start
Yeah,
with Harlan.
Humza.
Or Humza. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go in reverse order. Humza first, then we'll go to Harlan.
I actually, as a Ruby Sapphire main, I think this is one of the most diverse and fun metas that we've had in the game, truly. I think, as you're seeing by a lot of the set champs results, anything and everything can win. It just depends on the luck of the draw and how your deck performs that day. And I think that's exactly where we want to be. We don't want that necessarily polarized rock, paper, scissors meta that we had previously. So I'm actually very pro this Hiram ban and Fortisphere ban because it allows for a lot more creativity, and it also allows for more fun for players who don't like just pigeonholing themselves.
Yeah, fair. Harlan,
Awesome.
you're a blue steel guy. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think it's very great to ask both of us because that was really nice that was the answer I got from somebody who plays Ruby Sapphire, at that level. And yeah, I like Sapphire Steel was like, I don't know, the thing. Like my YouTube channel sort of survives around it. We take it to a lot of events and stuff, but as much as of course I miss playing the ramp style of Sapphire Steel, the meta is so diverse. Like on the weekend, Blurple was just dominating one of our store champs, and then the next day, like Chernodogs was like the best thing that turned up. And it's just like, wow, everything has a shot. I know a lot of people like look fondly of set 3, where it was like I felt like every deck had a chance to win an event.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if it's exactly like that meta, but yeah, everything is great, but also has these weaknesses. Like Greenstone is great, but it also has some bad matchups. And the same for like Amber Steel Song. I think Amber Steel Song's being rated as like one of the highest decks, but you play against a Space Pirate Pete and your day is ruined.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so diverse, it's so good. Like in America, like at the 10K, you saw like Justin win with a Sapphire Steel list, and then in Germany we saw Chernodogs win, and it's like I don't think that was on everyone's radar for those 2 decks to be winning the event. So I think it's a really healthy spot. It's in a good position.
Nice. Very
Awesome
nice.
answers. Yeah.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for playing for us here today. It was a real treat to watch you guys duke it out back and forth with your versions of Steel. If there's any shout-outs or anything you want to give, now's the time.
Sure. I'll shout out the community that I play with here in Seattle. I'll shout out my team, Team Lux, and I'll shout out all the world competitors who I will be seeing very soon and hope to have a great event.
Yeah. Best of luck to you going forward to that. That's really awesome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Harlan?
Yeah, shout out like of course I'm part of SLTC, Secret Lorcana testing group, and like yeah, it's just like when you're surrounded by amazing players, like you realize how much better you actually end up playing and like the potential you have. And I want to shout out Ali, my partner, who's had to be very quiet whilst I play these games, and I think she tried to get a cup of tea very quietly at some point as well. So yeah, it's always good fun. I really like the LCC. It's good to like get these like decks lists and showcase them and like more content for people is just always great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you once again, both of you, for having here. Rip Lungs, you've been my casting partner for this, and I'm so grateful to have you for this. Anyone you want to give a final shout out? Where can people find you?
Yeah, just create TCG on all social media platforms. Shout out Pavel. Shout out Harley and Humza for this awesome game today. Shout out for you for having me on. Shout out my local Stronghold Games, and shout out my girlfriend and all the homies in my local community.
I gotta love all that Lorcana love going around. Well, folks, that'll do it for today at the LCCC. Harlan Sweet is going to take this one, but we know Humza's going to be back with a vengeance at Worlds, so best of luck to him representing NA. We appreciate you watching. Feel free to give a follow if you haven't already. Check me out on YouTube at Rudrose TCG. And until next time, take care. Bye, everybody.